ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Sri Harinam Chintamani series on inattentive chanting. Every Saturday and Sunday we've been having this series. Yesterday we were discussing especially what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has to say, how to counteract this Audasin, Jad and Vikshev. Especially we saw that these three, Audasin, Jad and Vikshep, are the different types of inattention. And as long as one has not developed anurag, one has to very carefully chant the holy name. And especially to chant attentively, one has to steady the mind because the mind is attracted to material sense objects. So as long as one doesn't have taste, the mind is absorbed in sense objects, and at the same time, we are vibrating the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So he says that the thoughts are going in one direction, the holy name is going in another direction. And in such a state, even if you chant a lakh of a name, Lakshana, not even a drop of taste you have for the Chintamani called the holy name. And this is because of inattention, which is very, very difficult. And from text 16 onwards, he has started giving solution how to become free from this inattention, how to become free from this attention. So yesterday we discussed these verses. The first method how we should carefully chant is that we should associate with devotees, because in their presence only we become peaceful, the material desires subside, and one can chant in a secluded place. And we discussed the concept of sacred space even yesterday and in the last class. And then gradually the mind will fix on the holy name and one will taste nectar. Kintu adirat anudinam khalu saiva jushtat swadvi kramat, as Rupa Goswami also says in text 7. And another powerful method is to sit in front of Tulsi. And Tulsi, holy place, saintly association, following the example of great saints. And then one should gradually spend more and more time in chanting the holy name. And then he'll be able to become free from these thoughts of material sense objects. So in this context, we were discussing the slides. Firstly, we discussed the sacred space concept, and then how one has to spend time with the holy name if he has prem, if he wants to develop prem, Krishna prem. So one has to learn to love the lover if one does not know him and does not wish to spend time with him. So how we should do that? By spending more and more doing japa. So here, how to withdraw the mind from the senses and fixing the consciousness inwards so that we can become free from the offensive platform, Namaprad stage, and come to the Namabha stage, especially the Chaya Shraddha Namabha stage. We mentioned how we have these 3 stages of chanting, Namaprad, Namabhas, Shuddhanam. And within Namabhas, there is divisions. There is Shraddha Namabhas, there is Ashraddha Namabhas. And within Ashraddha Namabhas is Sanket, Parihasya, Stobhela. And in Shraddha Namabhas, there is Chaya Namabhas and Pratibimba Namabhas. So Pratibimba means reflection and Chaya is shadow. So we go from the stage of chanting to Namaprad to Chaya Shraddha Namabha stage and Shuddhanam. So this knowledge about Namabha, Sambandh Gyan, is elaborately dealt in the 3rd chapter of Harinam Chintamani. Anyone would like to go more in detail? And in fact, Haridas Thakur promises one who understands Namabhas, he will definitely attain Krishna Prem. So one should go more in detail in the 3rd chapter of the Harinam Chintamani. But here we are just mentioning that one has to come out from the Namaprab stage, come to the Chaya Shraddha Namabha stage and go to the Shuddhanam stage. And later on, bhajan is first external. You need external stimulus to, so that the mind can hear the mantra. But as bhajan becomes internal, we don't need any outside stimulus. The mind can naturally get attracted and flow towards Krishna. We saw the discussion of Mukunda from the Chaitanya Charitamrit. So what happens at the stage of Chaya Shraddha Namabhas is the anarthas get removed. The anarthas start getting destroyed. One of the effects of Namabhas chanting, or the benefits of Namabhas chanting, is 2 things Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions, is anarthas are destroyed. Anarthas are destroyed. And Namabhasya hoy papa shoy. Papa, all the sinful activities, even the pious activities, impressions which are there in the heart, they also are eradicated. So Namabhas stage is the platform for us to take Shuddhanam. So the anarthas are destroyed. But here is a very important point which was brought in the last point here. Yesterday we were having this discussion. But the false ego is strong and will not want to let go of dominion so easily. So this is the real battle where the inner battle of the heart begins. The battle of Kurukshetra was a battle which Arjuna fought for Krishna. It was an external battle also, but the same battle of Kurukshetra for us is an internal battle in our heart to mind on the holy name and not allow the false ego to uh, get disturbed by the anarthas which spring because of chanting of Namabas. So here is a question. Yes, Mataji, Dr. Archana Mataji.
Haribol, sir. I just want to know what is the difference between ego and false ego? What do we mean false ego?
Okay. Uh, Ego refers to the self, the self, and false ego refers to false self. Is I am Indian, I am American, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, or I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I am enjoyer. The false identity that is called as false ego. The real ego is that I am spirit soul. Jivera Swarup hoy, Krishnera Nityadas. So the pure soul, when it comes in this material world, it is covered, its identity is covered by a envelope of avidya, the envelope of avidya, which gives us a false identity that I am enjoyer. And that's why we are here in this material world. So we are now going back to our constitutional position. Jiva re Swarupoy, Krishnera Nityadas. The Jiva is part and parcel of Krishna and he is a servant of Krishna. So that identification that I am spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna and servant of Krishna, that is real ego. But now we have been given a false identity as a false personality. We have taken up this role, and that is why this false ego means to control, to dominate, and to enjoy. So this ego is the root cause of our material existence in this material world. And to get rid of it is not so easy. It's not at all easy. So in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Purushottam Yoga, uh, which explains the banyan tree, the whole metaphor of the banyan tree is there. Urdha Mula Ada Shaka Ashwattam Prahuravyam. In the last verse, that is the 20th verse purport, Srila Prabhupada, after discussing the whole Purushottam Yoga, he summarizes that ultimately our material existence is because of trying to lord it over material nature. First is because of trying to lord it over material nature, and when we become so-called lords, then the propensity to exploit and further lord it over material nature, further propensity to lord it over material. So this is all because of false ego, the false identity that I am enjoyer. And this, this is what we are dealing now with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. When we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, actually we are straight away attacking our ego. That's why the ego will do its best to counter the attack with the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. If I hear, then my identity will be at stake. So it will fight. And the ego has its weapons in the form of the contaminated intelligence and the mind, which it uses to maintain its identity as I am the enjoyer. So this is what we deal with the ego. This is how we can understand. So actually, yesterday when I was describing this and discussing this session, this part of the slide, I don't know how many devotees could really catch, but I would like to make another point that if we are chanting very attentively, you will start experiencing that you are becoming more and more disturbed internally. I hope this statement we are able to digest. This is something we need to know. If we are chanting very attentively, then you will start understanding that you are becoming more and more disturbed internally. What is the reason? Anyone would like to answer can raise your hands. Okay, there is one, two devotees. Okay, let us give. Oh, many have raised their hands. Okay, I'll give chance to all of them. First, Maya Narasimha Prabhuji. Others, if they want to like, they can type it also. Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. So as we chant more and more attentively, as you said, we experience more, disturbance internally. So actually, what I conceive and what I feel and what I heard is that it is not that by chanting you are experiencing that internal disturbance, rather you are becoming aware that how much disturbance is there within your own consciousness. So you are becoming more and more aware of your actual situation. So that is happening because you are now awakening to real knowledge by the means of chanting.
Okay. Let us see what Satish has to say. Satish.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. What I understand, can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
Very well. Yeah, Prabhu, as we are chanting attentively, as we go into that phase, the anarthas which is there in our heart, it becomes more prominent. I remember one example which was given during the class is that when Krishna was dancing on the head of Kalia, what came out first is the poison. And when the poison was cleansed from Kalia's heart, then only he could understand Krishna's importance and love for him, and then he surrendered. Haribo.
Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. The anarthas come out. The anarthas come out. And you thought, when I took up to Krishna consciousness 10 years back, I was free, free from all the bad habits, and have been following the 4 regulative principles. Maybe at the conscious level, but at the deep subconscious level, these anarthas are deep rooted. And when you do inattentive chanting, these anarthas come out, and they come out on the screen of the mind. So many have typed the answer quite correctly. And not only that happens, in fact, another thing which happens, which is very difficult to counteract. These anarthas which come out, in fact, it is the false ego which will push us to fall victim to these anarthas and engage in these anarthas. To fall victim to these anarthas and engage in these anarthas. Till now, the room cleaning example which Prabhupada gives, we have been just superficially cleaning the room on the surface. And when we start going deep inside and when we start digging inside, we see, oh, there is so much dirt, so much dirt. We go deeper, deeper, there is still deeper dirt. And all the deep dirt comes out, all the foul smell comes out, all the dust starts coming out, and we become more disturbed. So, in fact, it is the false ego which will try its level best at this stage to trap you in these anarthas and become a victim to do sinful activities, in fact, because these anarthas, which are very deep rooted, when they spring up, they come up with a deep force. And in this force, you might become impelled to fall victim to the anarthas which are springing up in the heart. So that is the time where your real test in Krishna consciousness begins. Yes, so here that point was made. Therefore, as the anarthas from previous lives are shown to you by the mercy of Srinam Prabhu, if you follow the dictation of the false ego, they will again attract your consciousness and try to exert dominion over you. You might discover after many years, when you start chanting attentively, suddenly some anartha in a form of dirty desire might come up in the heart, and you might think, never last 20 years. Such a thing has happened to me. Why this kind of things are happening to me? And you might be pulled in that direction. So this is the time where we need to take shelter of the Lord's devotees, who are the protectors on the road of bhakti, and not fall prey to the dictation of past anarthas. And if we resist their pull and do not engage in illicit activity of any kind, including offending others, you will succeed in uprooting unwanted desires from the heart. This is the real stage where we are going to be deeply tested in our Krishna consciousness. In fact, to give you a hint or an understanding what exactly happens at this stage is, it's like you have been wonderfully going in mountaineering. You have been climbing the mountain, you have been there with the devotees association, like climbing the Himalayas. You have been blissfully engaged in this activity, and there's a huge storm. There's a huge storm, a huge wave which is coming out, and now you are stuck. What to do? Not only there is storm, but there is landslides, there is rain, shower. And what do you do at such a time when externally you see these kind of difficulties? You'll have to humble down and go inside a cave and take shelter there and wait till the storm subsides, till the snowfall subsides, till the landslide subsides. And you'll have to wait maybe for some hours or some days sometimes till everything subsides. That means you need to take a humble position and go below the cave and sit there and be patient. Similarly, when these anarthas spring up due to your chanting, they can create an inner storm in the heart, and this for us to see is difficult. The external storm and the waves are visible to us in the external world, but the internal storm which happens in the heart is very, very difficult for us to understand. We don't even understand that the storm has come and how it is, in which direction it is taking us, how it is attacking us. So here is a very critical phase in our spiritual life that we need to calm down. We need to humble down and take shelter of devotees, take guidance from pure devotees to battle this inner storm which has come in the heart. In fact, I heard a very remarkable statement from His Holiness Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, one of the dear disciples, sannyasi disciples of Srila Prabhupada. And in his book, where he has spoken on lectures of holy name, he mentions that the danger of offenses is not in the Namaprad stage, but in the Namabha stage. The fall down happens in the Namabha stage and not in the Namaprad stage, he says. Now, why is it so? What is the reason Gaur Govind Maharaj is saying this? Anyone can think about the reason? I hope you got the statement clear. Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, it is because in that Namabha stage only our anarthas are getting uprooted and there is a chance that we may fall victim. So this could be the reason.
Even in the Namaprad stage, the anarthas are being slowly uprooted. But Gaur Govind Maharaj says, actually the fall happens from Namapa stage. You can go back to Namaprad stage, he says. Yes, Maya Narasimha Prabhuji.
Same thing, Prabhu. I think almost you answered, because Namabha stage means you have already made some advancement in the spiritual life. So there, if you commit offense, and whatever the advancement you have made, that is covered, and again you have to start from
Yes,
Namapara.
yes. This is the true answer. Actually, when we are chanting Namaprad, it's like the beginning stages of sadhana bhakti. We are on the ground floor, like a kid who is always walking in the home. He's just learned to walk, and he's walking. Sometimes he falls and he cries a little bit. So nothing happens much. But as he grows, and this kid from being in the ground floor in the house, he's now on the 10th floor or on the 15th floor. From there he falls. That is the real fall down, because that is going to be devastating for him if he falls from the 15th floor or the 20th floor. So with many years of sadhana, when we are almost cross the Namaprad stage and we are in the Namabha stage, and there when the real uprooting of the anarthas is happening, that is the phase which is very critical, where we might offend devotees or we might become victim to the anarthas which are springing up on the mind screen. That is where real precaution has to be taken. So real fall down actually happens in the Namabha stage and not in the Namaprad stage. And in Shuddhanam, there is no question of fall down. Srila Prabhupada says, no question. Once you come to the Shuddhanam stage, or once you attain Bhava or Prema stage, there is no question. There's absolutely rare chance that there can be any fall down. So the real crucial testing phase in a Krishna consciousness is this stage. So that is why this point was there, and that's why I'm bringing it again, although we had this discussion yesterday. You can be, you'll also become immune to attacks from unseen forces by the strength of your bhajan. And you should be able to stop all the external sensory activity and draw the mind inwards and go into the inner realities. And you can, in the inner world also, you can go in illusion. Sometimes you go in a dream world, you know that. Either in the past of lamentation or future speculations, fears. So here the important point was made yesterday, which we had discussed, that the mind is driven by the false ego, and you cannot think in terms of the present. This is how the mind will trick. The mind will not allow you to stay in the present. And if you can stay in the present, it's as good as you have attained samadhi, to be in the present. It's like close to Shuddha Sattva Gun, Shuddha Sattva state. But the mind will not allow that. The mind will continuously drag us from past events and future speculations, completely fabricating events which have no reality whatsoever. So the mind has an amazing potency. The mind has an amazing potency to magnify something which is small. It will make a big scene and present it to you. It will magnify. And the mind also has an amazing potency to, imagine. It can go in a state of imagination where it can take you on a ride, internal ride, where you'll completely, you'll be lost. So this is how the mind works. So we have to understand the mind with different metaphors. The mind has amazing potency to magnify. Magnify means make it bigger. Some small problem has happened and we make it so big issue. This is how the mind can work. And the mind can has an amazing potency to take you into illusion. His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj was mentioning in one of the lectures that when Vishwamitra Muni was meditating, he had shut all the external senses and he was within meditating. And then when he heard the ankle bell sound of Menaka was dancing, Indra had sent Menaka, the sound of the ankle bell entered the ears. And this sound was a very sweet sound. And when it entered the ears, it touched the mind. And the mind was relishing the sound of the ankle bells. And now the mind was telling, no, where is this sound coming from? I want to know the sound form now. I want to know the sound form. What is the form of the sound now? So with this impetus or spiritual stimulus, not spiritual, material stimulus which had entered, Vishwamitra Muni developed a desire now to see that sound form. And when he opened his eyes, he saw the beauty of Menaka. And he fell to the beauty of Menaka. And it is mentioned that Srila Prabhupada uses a very polished word. He cohabited with Menaka. And it happened that one day, Vishwamitra Muni in the early morning took his kamandalu and he was about to go to take bath to do his morning Sandhya Vandana. So Menaka asked, Swami, where are you going? So Vishwamitra Muni was taken aback. What do you mean? Every day morning, I do my Sandhya Vandana, I do my Gayatri and all my morning duties. But Menaka said, but I did not see you doing this for the last 10 years. Vishwamitra was aghast. What? Last 10 years, I forgot doing all my Sandhya Vandana duties? He was so much absorbed in the beauty of Menaka for the 10 years he was spending time that he completely forgot to do his basic spiritual activities. So immediately he became angry. He left Menaka and went back to again do austerities. So the point why I'm telling this is that the mind can put you in such illusion and you can be taken into a ride. Vishwamitra was on a ride for 10 years like this. So similarly, within our internal heart, internal world, the mind can take you into some kind of illusions. And in these illusions, we get caught and we get lost. So this is a very important point which I wanted to bring out further. So there is one more question here. Yes, Maya Sapuji.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you mentioned in the context of Shuddhanam, once who attains Shuddhanam, there is no possibility of him falling off from that position. So in that regard, I was reading Bhagavatam. Recently, I was reading 4th canto, last chapter. So there, the description of Prachetas has been very clearly been mentioned that they have been instructed by their father initially, then later by Lord Shiva by personal darshan and instruction. Then by following that instruction, they had the darshan of Lord Vishnu. And after that, they had a family life. And they themselves expressed that they have lost in family life. And they got bewildered by the material nature. And again, they have been instructed by Narada. And also we see in the Dhruva's case also, when he was rampantly killing all the yakshas. So it shows that even if after having the personal darshan of the Lord, after has been glorified as great devotees, they also fall and succumb to material temptations and get lost in the world. So in that context, to this Shuddhanam, is it not applicable to them that they are pure devotees, and again there is a tendency that they can fall back if they are not careful? And also, as we hear, it said that in the case of Mahatmas, yatatam satatam kirtayantom yatantascha drudavratha. So this determination is recommended even for Mahatmas. So how we can say that Shuddha Nam people, those who are chanting Shuddha Nam, they will not fall back?
Okay. So now regarding the pastimes of the Bhagavatam, which some of them you mentioned, now we'll have to see those each individual cases. Now, yes, Dhruva Maharaj pastime, there is mention. Dhruva Maharaj had actual darshan of the Lord and he was ruling as a king. But yet when his brother was killed by the Yakshas, he went on a rampage and started destroying all the Yakshas. In fact, Manu had to come. So the point is that Bhagavatam is teaching us lessons that even a self-realized soul who had had the darshan of the Lord, even under certain situations can come under the control of anger. And that is why if you see in those verses, if you see the discussion in the flow of the verses, there is mention that how one should not come under the control of anger. So these great lessons are being taught in the Bhagavatam. So this is one understanding we should have. Secondly, most of the pastimes which are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, especially in the third canto, fourth canto, fifth canto, many deal with Mishra Bhakti. They don't deal with Shuddha Bhakti. The object of worship is not Krishna. This you have to understand. But Shuddha Bhakti, which is free from karma and jnana, Shuddha Bhakti is so powerful. When we start with Sadhana Bhakti, once we reach the stage of Bhava Bhakti, where avidya is destroyed, that is after Asakti, in fact, our Swarupa is revealed. And not only that, we know our rasa with Krishna. We know our rasa with Krishna. So that is the stage of Bhava Bhakti, which is far, far superior to any other sadhanas of bhakti practiced in other paths. I mean, within the ambit of bhakti. So this we have to be very, very clear. Shivram Swami Maharaj was mentioning that if you have another sannyasi in the other bona fide sampradayas, say like the Madh Sampradaya, he is a sannyasi. He has practiced Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. He has attained Vaidhi Bhav and Vaidhi Prema. Far, far superior is a sadhaka practicing in the Gaudiya Sampradaya Sadhana Bhakti, who has just taken up Sadhana Bhakti. He is far, far superior, this sadhaka, compared to a sannyasi. Why? Because the reason is, because this sadhaka who has taken up Sadhana Bhakti, he will ultimately attain Raganuga Bhakti and Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, which will give him rasa into Golok Vrindavan, entrance into Golok Vrindavan. So that is why this path, which is being revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis and Srila Prabhupada to us, this is far, far superior. Far, far superior. In fact, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that actually, even in the Madhu Sampradaya, the sannyasis who are in the renounced order of the life, they get liberation by a gradual process. It's a gradual process. It is called as Krama Mukti or Archiradiri Marg. Archiradiri Marg means the path of light. But that might take many, many lifetimes for attaining perfection. But this path given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, if we take up seriously, in one lifetime, we can attain perfection. So that is how we need to understand it. Okay. So these points were discussed yesterday, but I'm just revisiting them just to give more emphasis, and that's why I'm revisiting. So that's why we have to ignore the mind and fix the mind in hearing the holy name. And the mind will play every trick to take our attention from Krishna. And then we have to be in the present so that we can access the real ego, that is Jivera Krishna Swarupai Krishna Nam. And this is the most important technique, to listen to the name. So many devotees, many times they ask this question, if we can think about the pastimes. This is all bogus, I feel. You have to hear. In fact, you have to attentively hear for many, many years. Naam. In fact, when you hear the name and spontaneously the form of the Lord appears in the heart, then Roop comes out. And the form in the heart will come only when all the impressions in the heart are destroyed. And only in the heart there is Krishna. Mat chitta, mat gata prana. Chitta means heart. Chitra means picture. Only my picture is there, Krishna is saying, in the heart. And nobody else's picture is there. Not our husbands or wife or so many other pictures or so many other sense object pictures. Only My picture is there, Krishna said. So till you come to that stage, we have to only focus our mind in hearing the mantra. And that's why we brought out this important sutra to chant in the mode of goodness. Means one mantra at a time. Just hear one mantra at a time. This is a very important principle which we discussed yesterday. Now, further discussion. The idea behind listening to the mantra is the mind is given a point of reference to follow. Like someone shining a torch in a dark cave to light up the path. So our heart is like a dark cave, and the mantra is the torch. So just focus on the first syllables. Hare Krishna mantra has 32 syllables and 16 words. Just focus on the first Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So just focus on that and complete that one mantra. And then go to the next mantra. Sometimes we have this, oh, the previous mantra which I chanted, I did not chant attentively, or I slipped one name. Like that, the mind can go back. Or while we are chanting this present mantra, we are in a hurry to chant the next mantra because of the mode of passion. So the mind has to stay in the present and listen to that mantra which is being chanted, and it gets a point of reference for it to move ahead. You must follow the path that the torch illuminates for you. The word mantra means to deliver the mind. The holy name is at once both the path and the goal at the end of the path. So name is what the means as well as the ends. However, if you go off track and follow the pictures of speculations created within the mind, you will be lost forever in the world of illusions. And you will also be committing namaprad, as you will not be following the name as the Lord desires. Remember, Harinam is the path to deliver the mind. So I don't know how many devotees know about Maze. Maze is a game, and there was also some TV serials which is to come. I'm speaking about 20-25 years back. How many of you know about Maze? How many of you have heard about Maze? Okay, only one devotee. Maze, not many of you have heard about it. So Maze is actually it's like a, you can say a cave with many paths coming in and out, many paths, square, rectangle, many such paths are there, but there will be only by a particular path you take, you can exit out. So this is a game which is being played, and it is there. And there are some gardens also like that, where you can get caught up. You take one particular path and you get caught up and encircled there, and you don't come out only. But there will be only one path by which you can take and slowly come out and get out and come out of it. But here we are speaking of within our heart, this maze within our heart. So here it is being mentioned that you should not go off track. The name is acting like a torch for you to illuminate the path within. You should not follow the speculations of the mind. So especially as sadhakas advance, we can go into these subtle deviations, intellectual deviations, mental deviations can happen. And that is why we should stick to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. We can go into speculations about Shastra also. We can go into speculation that, I am very elevated, or I am having particular Swarupa in the spiritual world. So these kind of speculations, I'm very, when we start really advancing, that is the real test. In fact, Swarupa is a matter of revelation, and Krishna reveals at the right time when we attain the right stage. But as we advance, these kind of speculations externally or internally happen, and we have to be very careful. The Lord has given his name as the powerful mantra, and this mantra will deliver the mind if one sincerely follows it, abandoning every other type of religion, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, no other desire. Anya abhilashita shunyam, jnana karmadi anavritam. If one really wants to remain in the present moment, one must enter into the timeless activities of the Lord's pastimes in Vrindavan via chanting his holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, if in your chanting you experience, what is an experience to be present in your chanting means you chant 8 rounds, 10 rounds, and when you come out of your chanting, you realize, oh, I've just chanted for a short time and it's already 1.5 years. 1.5 hours. I did not realize. So if you are experiencing something, that is like you are in the present. You are in the present. You are beyond the ambit of the Kala Shakti, which has this experience of past, present, and future. So this is what you can just understand, get a glimpse of what is it to be in the present in your chanting. So these were very important points of discussion which we brought out in this section. So any questions, any clarifications anyone has? Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, this hearing of one mantra at a time, that means all 16 words to be heard very attentively.
Okay.
All 16 words.
Firstly, I would like to explain, when we sit for japa, especially the first thing mind will tell, 16 rounds, 108 names for 2 hours. This is what the mind will dictate. 2.5 hours you are going to sit and chant. So this is how the mind, moment we take a sankalpa, resolve to just let me sit and chant my 16 rounds. If you tell this to the mind will come with an explanation. 16 rounds, 108 names, 2 hours. No, that's not possible. That's too much. So the battle begins there. That is why we need to give the task to the mind. The mind is like a child sometimes. And the intelligence should be like the mother. The child is always restless. And that's why the mother, we need to parent the child. So similarly, with spiritual intelligence, we should tell the mind, my dear mind, not 2 hours, not 108 into 16, just hear one mantra, the one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So that is the task we need to give the mind. And then the mind says, okay, sit and start chanting. And within that mantra, just focus on the first Hare. So if you are able to catch the Hare and hear it attentively, then the entire mantra you can hear. So that is the principle which I was actually speaking about. I hope it's clear, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Thank
you. Yes, Satish Prabhuji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I have a question regarding, you said in the chapter 3, the Nababa stage has been explained better. So is there a separate video which you have done on that, of the previous chapters, which probably I can refer to?
Yes. There's links I can send you. Fine.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. Yes, Sunita Mataji has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, I'm able to hear.
Prabhuji, I just missed the connection when you were talking about the Prachetas, uh, about their downfall. Can you please repeat it?
No, there's no downfall about it. The Prachetas means what we were discussing with that with respect to that question, that many of the pastimes which are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, uh, they are uh, their bhakti which is being practiced is not pure devotional service, which we have been given by Rupa Goswami, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is more Mishra bhakti. That is what we were been discussing. And even in case of Dhruva Maharaj, although he was self-realized, he was a pure devotee of the Lord, but still he fell victim to anger. So there are some lessons for us to be drawn, that even a self-realized soul who had the darshan of life can come under the victim of anger. So there are for some lessons for us. So that was what we were discussing. The most important point is that the pastimes, some of the pastimes in the Bhagavatam speak about Mishra Bhaktas. Not all are on the platform of pure devotion. They are all pure devotees. Please understand, firstly. Uh, but in the purity, there is gradations also. There is gradation. There is gradation. Now, Narad Muni is also a pure devotee of the Lord. But Arjuna is also a pure devotee of the Lord. Arjuna is deeply having friendship with the Lord. But there is also Arjuna in who is a Saka of Krishna. So Suddha Shaka he is called. So what is Saka and Shuddha Saka? So this Arjun, who is a Saka in Vrindavan, he is still purer compared to Arjun of the Kurukshetra, because he is having more intimacy with the Lord, where he can play with the Lord. Arjuna doesn't play with Krishna. He has that friendship. So the rasa, what we have been given with this pure devotional service, Uttama Bhakti, with this rasa, which is far, far superior, with this path, if you take, once we attain these higher stages, where we are on the Shuddhanam, there is no question. That was my point that we were discussing. Anything else, Mataji? You have clarification? You have raised your hand.
Yes, Mataji, yes, Prabhuji. I got this clarification, but one more question I had, that means I am facing this. I am coming across a devotee who is facing this problem. He is falling down from the Amabha stage to the Namaprad stage. So how to help such a devotee?
No, we cannot ascertain actually whether it is that phase. It's difficult for us to actually examine and understand that maybe this is the stage. Just like a radiologist, a doctor, just by seeing externally the body, he cannot understand whether internally there is some problem. He'll have to take an X-ray, and then only when he reads the X-ray, then because of his knowledge of 8 years, 5 years of MBBS and 3 years in post graduation, he reads with the eye of knowledge, and then he can say, yes, this is a problem internally. So similarly, for such a devotee, we'll have to see whether we have that deep relation with that devotee, and whether that devotee is actually revealing his heart to us, is what exactly is happening to him. Then we can help. So if we have that kind of a relationship, then we'll have to sit with him. He has to reveal actually what is happening, and then we can help. Or else, best is to tell their superiors, their mentors, their spiritual masters, and because that relationship they have, and they are like those doctors who can see the X-ray, they'll be in a better position to help. Is it okay, Mataji?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. And one more thing I wanted to say, Prabhuji. All these lectures, if YouTube links are available, recorded, please forward in the group or personally. Is it possible?
Yes, fine. Yeah, fine. Any other questions you have? Okay. So now I will Okay, there is one other question that is okay. Raise the hand. Uh, Please do ask questions by raising hand. Avoid typing on the chat box. Only use the chat box for if the audio is not clear. Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, sir, I just wanted to know whether is there any book where I can refer from day 01 till today's date, or can you share the link? The same question which the previous Mataji had asked you.
Yeah, there are many books on the holy name, and depending on how one is situated in this practice, and how many years is practicing Krishna consciousness, he should start reading these books. Usually, it is always recommended to regularly read about the glories of the holy name on a regular basis. We should read uh, the glories of the holy name, because that is the path for us for perfection. Just by chanting the holy name, we can attain the highest perfection. Understanding this, we should make a point to regularly read the holy name. Now, firstly, I would recommend, especially the book which is compiled by BBT, Namamrit, which are quotations from Srila Prabhupada books from various Chaitanya Charitamrit, Bhagavatam, Gita, here and there, collected and assorted in the form of different themes. That is there. Then there is Satsvarup Maharaj Japa Talk, Japa Walk. Sachinandan Maharaj has written the Nectarian Ocean of the Holy Name. And like that, there are many other books which have come on the holy name. Bhurijan Prabhu has written a book called as Japa. Japa, I think. Japa is the book name. Like that, these books are there. And also there are books written by our acharyas. Now, I would recommend that once we should finish all these books which are given to us by our present acharyas and Srila Prabhupada, then slowly with the blessings of our mentors, we should refer to previous acharyas' books on the holy name. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has spoken a lot about the holy name in many of his works, and especially among them is Sri Harinam Chintamani. In fact, Sri Harinam Chintamani is a book which even all of us can read. And only after reading, rereading, many readings, hearing, then the subject matter will become more clear. So Harinam Chintamani is there. And this book now is available. I will just share the screen and show you. So this is the book which is available, and which is translated one by Banu Maharaj. But Banu Maharaj book is just the prose, the poetry is not there, the verses are not there. But this is being printed by Golden Age Media Delhi, and these books are available online, and the soft copies are also there. So those who want, they can have the soft copy. But I also again recommend to have the hard copy where you can read, mark, and study the book on a regular basis. Okay, fine. So I'll just take 2 verses to begin the next section, and we'll have an elaborate discussion on that section in the next week. So the next section, firstly, now he has given means by we can free from inattention by carefully chanting. Now from section 20 to 22, these are only 2 verses, 20 to 21, he says another way, anya prakriya. In this way, there is no inattention caused by indifference. Ei rupe karila, audasin rupa anavadan hoy na. If you can follow this another technique, then you can become free from audasin. Atava nirjanavasi smari sadhuriti indriya pidhan kari nama kare mati, or living in a secluded place, remembering the holy name, acting in a saintly way, and controlling the senses, one may fix his mind on the holy name. So this is another method he is telling how to become free from audasin. There is a footnote. Controlling the senses means living as an ascetic in a secluded cottage, or it may even mean covering the eyes, ears, and nose with a cloth. Now, this is too much, you might say. We cover the eyes, the ears, the nose with a cloth. Now, why is Bhaktivinoda Thakur recommending it? Because at least we can cover the eyes by closing our eyelids. And if we do it in the beginning stages, we'll go to sleep. So half eyes closed and open is recommended. The ears can be closed by putting cotton. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur suggests. In fact, I regularly make it a point to cover my ears while chanting so that I can only hear my mantra, what I'm chanting. I don't hear other sound vibrations, other devotees chanting. In fact, you don't need the external ear to hear also, because if the chanting is coming from the heart, you can internally hear the mantra. You can internally hear the mantra. But that's not possible in the practicing stages. Once Srila Prabhupada, in his beginning days, as his new disciples were spreading the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there was one recording of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra which was supposed to be done in a studio. So all the disciples and the professionals were there in the studio, and Prabhupada was there. And Prabhupada was seeing all the arrangement. He sat in a chair and he was just chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Like that, he was chanting internally. And the professionals, they were little disturbed. They thought there is some disturbance in the wire and they're trying to fix the wire. They could not realize where this sound is coming. That sound was coming not from the external vibration of Srila Prabhupada, but internally from this heart he was chanting. So then they realized that it is Prabhupada chanting there. They thought there was some wire disturbance in their studio. That is that some sound was coming. So this is not possible. That's why these external senses have to be shut. In fact, it is recommended that you can take a shawl, cover your eyes. And why the nose has to be covered, it is said, because if any smell also enters, one smell of being samosas being fried in the early morning. I'm staying here in our ashram on the second floor, and our kitchen is down there. And sometimes if the dosa is being made, I can smell the dosa being fried on the iron pan, and that can attract. Immediately, our mind will go, let's rush and have the dosa. So that's how the mind is so powerful, and that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning about controlling the senses in this way. Living in a secluded place again means to be in the association of devotees. Remembering the holy name is we can chant beautiful shlokas glorifying the holy name. So these are the points Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning. Satvare namite nishta, ruchi krama hoy, audasina dosha tara, krame hoy shai. Quickly one attains first faith, nishta, and then gradually attraction to the holy name. Ruchi krame hoy. Krame means step by step. This taste is not like suddenly you'll get overnight. Gradually, step by step over a period of years. Gradually, the fault of indifference is destroyed. Audasina doshtara krame hoy shai. So this is the second method how we can destroy Audasin. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning here. Now, regarding these points, I will, in the slides, take it up in the next week. Very important points are going to come with respect to this second method, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving us to become free from Audasin. So we will stop here. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Hare Krishna.